Guys, in this training, we're going to be going through the exercise tempo, okay? The guide to mastering your reps and getting the most from the time that you're spending in the gym. In the program, every exercise you have is going to have an exercise tempo written beside it. It's so imperative that you follow that tempo, and every number has a meaning, okay? And we're going to run through exactly what that means. So, in EverFit, your exercises are going to appear something like this, okay? You're going to have the exercise, obviously, that's the video that you can click on and watch, however many reps that you're trying to aim for, and then your rest period here, like you can see there, okay? And then you're going to have this exercise tempo. So, what does that mean? Okay, so the first number is the eccentric or the lowering phase. So if it's a dumbbell, for this, a dumbbell incline press. So we're thinking about lowering that dumbbell, okay, as we're bringing it down. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. That's your 3 second eccentric there. Your second number is the pause at the bottom, okay, so that's a 1 second pause, a complete pause at the bottom. The third number is the concentric or the lifting part of the motion for a high incline dumbbell press. It's going to be the pressing part. And then the fourth number is at the top of that exercise. So then that's a 1 second pause at the top. That might be a 1 second pause to just kind of get ourselves set and then come back down again, okay? Sometimes there'll be no rest at the top, so we'll just try to keep that consistent tempo, that consistent tension throughout the movement. Now, there's going to be two common tempos that I'm going to use. It's going to be a 3-1-1-0, so that 3 second lowering, 1 second pause at the bottom, 1 second to lift it, that kind of aggressive controlled aggression as we're lifting the movement, so we're pressing that dumbbell up with a little bit of intent there, and then no seconds in terms of a pause at the top, so no rest at the top, okay? That kind of consistent tension that we're looking for. And then we might have something that's a little bit more eccentric based, or focusing on the lowering phase. This would be something if we're focusing on standardizing form and standardizing time under tension, then we're focusing on, a little bit longer, that extra second on the way down, 1 second pause, 1 second press up, and then obviously no rest at the top again. Now, what we have to understand is that the numbers always mean the same things, irrespective of the exercise, okay? So some exercises start with the lowering part of the movement first. So something like a squat or a dumbbell press, for example, you start with the weight up high and then you're lowering it down. From a squat, you're starting from a standing position and you're lowering yourself down into a squat. But something like a lat pull down or a chin up, the first part of the movement is the concentric, is the lifting part. The first part you do for a chin up is you pull yourself up to the bar. Or for a lat pull down, the first thing you do is you start to pull those handles down towards your body. That's all well and good, but the numbers still mean the same thing. So for a lat pull down, the 3 second lowering is as you lower that weight, as your hand is traveling above your head. That's the lowering part of the movement. You're lowering the stack closer to the bottom, and that's the part we're doing for 3 seconds. So even though the first part you do is this concentric part here, it still means the same thing. It can be a little bit confusing, but all we need to remember is anytime we're lowering a weight, we're always trying to lower it under control. We're always trying to be a little bit more deliberate and a little bit more controlled as we lower the weight. So we're always going to be lowering under a little bit more control. We're always going to be spending a little bit more time lowering. And what you need to think about with that concentric, the active lifting part of the movement, so lat pull down, you're thinking about pulling that weight down towards your chest, or for a squat or something, you're thinking about standing up with intent. You always want that to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more. It's controlled aggression, but there's a little bit more intent there as well. Okay, so the reason that we standardize tempos across the exercise, okay, it's how we standardize form. If I know that you're taking 5 seconds for every repetition, then that's cool. I know that you're at least getting some decent time under tension there. And I know that you're not just rushing through it. You're not just allowing the weight to drop, bouncing off yourself, catching it halfway up, and just kind of pumping out your reps with no real focus on quality, no real focus on execution. Again, the mind muscle connection is you get a little bit more feel for the movement, and that can be from an expectation of where is my body in space, like what am I feeling working. If you just kind of drop something and then punch it up and it's like you have no awareness of what's actually happened, you're like, geez, oh, like that's just happened. I don't actually know what was working there. Whereas if you slow everything down, you're like, right, well, I'm trying to feel this a little bit more in my glutes, I'm trying to feel it in my hamstrings, I'm trying to not feel it in my lower back. If you slow it down, you're going to recognize these things so much quicker. And that obviously leads into injury prevention as well. Like if you just slow something down, you're going to realize that something's a little bit off a lot quicker than if you just hum through it at like a crazy speed. Um, you'll hurt yourself before you know it. Whereas if you do something a little bit slower, then you're going to be like, oh, right, okay, right, that doesn't feel so right. I need to review that again. Maybe let's just watch that execution video again. Let's just listen to what Lewis is saying in terms of that exercise. And okay, let's make a note of this in this coaching program, that by the way, this exercise I need a little bit more clarity on how to do this properly. Cool, you can bring it to one of the in-person execution masterclasses that we do. You can bring it to a community call, you can bring it to your check-in, whatever it is, and we can find a solution for that. Okay, what I think about as well is from every single repetition, there's 100% available. Okay, so 50% is on the way down, 50% is on the way back up. If I just allow something to drop, that 50% I've just lost completely. So I've just 50% bang gone, because I've just allowed it to fall. It's just gravity that's the only thing that's kind of slowed it down from falling towards me. I haven't controlled it in any way whatsoever. So there's 50% of the repetition that I've just let go for no reason whatsoever. Then if I just allow it to bounce off me, and I don't actually control it out of the bottom, then that's momentum that's moved the weight. If momentum's moved the weight, then it hasn't been my muscles that's moved my weight. And it's a good way to train your tendons. It's a good way to hurt yourself as well. So then I've lost maybe the bottom 15-20% here. So of 100% available for a repetition, I have got 30%, maybe 20-30% for my repetition. How efficient does that sound? Like you compound that over every exercise, every set, every session, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. How much are you leaving on the table? Like, if I'm going into the gym, I want to be making sure I'm applying myself to the absolute best of my ability, and I'm getting everything that I can from every single exercise, okay? I don't want to be going in there and just wasting my time. That doesn't mean you need to be lifting crazy heavy weights. Actually, when you slow things down and you use proper, correct form and technique, you realise that you can't use as heavy a weight as you would like to, okay? So this is so imperative that you focus on this exercise tempo, okay? If you need to watch this video through again, please watch it through again.